No presentations this evening and no public hearings. But at this time, members of the public are welcome to use this time to make comments about city matters or items on the agenda that are not part of a public hearing. If you wish to come forward, please limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. There's a 5-minute time clock on your left. No profanity, no personal attacks. That being said, come forward and state your name and address for the record. Podium is now open. Seeing no one coming forward, we will move to the consent agenda. Is there a councilman who would like to remove an item from the consent agenda? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Shoot. Second Deaton. Think about that for a second. Sorry. And then we approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain. Consent agenda passes. Planning and zoning consent agenda. Consider accepting dedication of right-of-way and easements on the final plat for Symphony Farms Phase 6. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
It's on consent agenda. Yeah.
So
yeah.
is there any council person who would like to remove this from the consent? No.
Probably shouldn't now. I could do it, but then that would make people mad.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Deaton, second Shoot, that we approve the planning and zoning consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Planning and zoning consent agenda passes. No committee recommendations, no old business. Moving on to new business. Consider authorizing the execution of agreement to perform a gas turbine control system upgrade. Hi
guys.
Hello.
Aye.
See some familiar faces. So the only guy I recognize is Todd, and that's because I came in to get my back popped a few times. But it's good to meet you all. I'm Matt Ponzer. I manage the electric substation and generation department for the city. So what we have 2 gas turbines for power generation and capacity. What we need to do is perform a upgrade on the control system. So we are in 2 phases of that project. The first phase, we'd like to recommend awarding to HPI Energy, and that would be to come out, do a site survey, do the assessment, figure out what instruments need to go, get the drawing specifications together, and that would be phase 1. Phase 2 of the project would be coming out and actually installing that. So we've come into a couple of hurdles. One being that we need to finish this project by the summer in order to do our summer capability testing on the gas turbine units. Well, the summer's quite a bit of ways away, but if we look at the project schedule, we look at it and say there's a risk of not getting that done. The problem there is, if we do not do this capability testing, we have to purchase that capacity on the market, and it can be quite expensive. So the whole control system upgrade is probably in the ballpark of $1 million, and we would be looking at paying maybe $1.7 million if you look at the penalty for not getting the capacity test. So we need to take about 2 months off that project schedule. So an idea to do that would be for phase 2 of the project, instead of going through another request for qualifications process, using the existing request for qualifications that we did for phase 1, and say that the company that was the most qualified 3 months ago is still going to be the most qualified 2 months from now when we do that. So what we'd like to do is ask them to be able to provide a bid for phase 2 while they're executing phase 1, while they're performing the work, so that we can take about 2 months off the project schedule and get it done by the summer. And they've said that they can do that. So we're just asking for the ability for them to provide that bid while performing phase 1 without doing another request for qualifications process.
Open this up for public comment. Council?
Formality, but okay. So I get what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
Are you asking the council for authorization to basically provide a a single bidder for this, for part two?
So what it is, I guess it's two parts. The first part, we have to get council to say we can execute phase one of the project for $95,000 with HPI Energy. That's the first part. That's pretty standard.
Yeah, we've already.
The part where we need to discuss and have this approval would be for phase two now. So we've done this request for qualifications, determine who was the most qualified contractor to perform this work. We've determined it was HPI Energy. And the original plan would have been to do that again for phase two.
Okay.
So we're saying, how about we don't do that step of doing that RFQ again,
Okay.
and we just proceed assuming that HPI Energy would still be the most qualified to do the work, considering they were 3 months ago when we did that process.
Yeah, totally understandable.
So that's kind of what we're looking for there. So approval to proceed with phase one for $95,000 with HPI Energy, and then in order to take that 2 months off schedule so we can get our summer capability testing done, to not do the RFQ process again.
They would still submit a bid, though.
They would still submit a bid, yeah.
Considered and approved.
And that bid would go to you guys on the March 7th meeting, I believe, for approval of that bid.
So can I jump in here for a second?
Sure.
So this is kind of unusual.
Yeah, it is.
So when I saw this, I called Gons and Matt down to talk about the timing. Like, why didn't we do the first phase earlier? And Matt did a good job of explaining that. So kind of go into that, because I can see everybody's got questions on their face
Right.
about why we didn't start earlier so that we had time to do this second phase in the normal process.
Yeah, sure. I guess part of it is you don't know what you don't know until you know.
Yep.
So we're ready to start phase one, January 1st, 2022. This is a 2022 project. We're ready to hit the ground running. And at this point, we find out that there's some schedule delays due to shipping and things for long lead items. Some of the expensive equipment is taking longer to deliver. So when we look at this schedule, maybe that's my bad. I should have paid a little bit more attention or looked into it months in advance, but I just didn't know. I didn't know we were going to have these delays. I didn't know it was going to hit us like that, and we were going to be pushed up against missing a summer capability test. But I think most industries are experiencing these types of delays with shipping, manufacturing, and this is my way of getting ahead of it before we start the project, of saying, hey, I think we can save some time, execute the project better, spend the city's money a little bit more effectively if we do it this way, and maybe modify a little bit from our standard procedure, because I see this roadblock coming down the road and I want to get ahead of it because it's fairly substantial.
Yeah. And my concern is that even with the 2 months that we might buy back here, with the ongoing supply chain issues
Right.
that we're seeing, especially with larger and more technologically advanced equipment, you're seeing that even push back more because of the microchip issues that they're having in other situations.
Sure. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, we may go through all this, and then we may end up having to pay the penalty anyway.
We may. We haven't signed a phase two contract yet. I'd be willing to put in liquidated damages for schedule delays and things like that. And all these things are open possibilities that we can have in there with HPI Energy. That's a good point, Steve. I mean, if we go through all this, we could still be late. So there's contractual methods to help us in those situations, like liquidated damages, that we could try to input into these contracts. I'm not opposed to those.
Yeah, I think we need to pursue that leverage in the agreement in case we still don't hit those timelines.
Is there any leeway on the timeline for the testing? I mean, can we be fined if we're late, but still not the whole?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So it's not exactly black and white. It's not exactly like it needs to be done exactly on this day. Now, they don't tell you what exceptions they're going to make. So I want to proceed assuming we're not going to get an exception. But yeah, we can cross our fingers and hope that we can get an exception, or we're certainly going to request it if we're late. I'm not going to just lay down and die on it.
Okay. Questions?
So, I understand your point about you don't know what you don't know, and it's absolutely true. Why didn't we request the bid for phase two at the same time we did phase one, though?
So there's a lot of unknowns with this project. This unit, this is an old gas turbine built in the 60s. They have to do phase one or be on site looking at all this equipment to realize the work that's going to need to be done.
Okay.
It's kind of like you buy a house and you want to fix it up and sell it. well, you got to get in the house and see what needs to be done. Same thing on these gas turbines.
So, do we have, Jim, you might need to answer this. What guarantees or qualifiers do we have if we request they provide a bid that it's actually still competitive? If they're the only ones doing it.
So there aren't very many companies that are qualified to do it.
Right.
And this company was vetted by the committee, and Matt and Gons assured me that they will be competitive in this realm. They have an idea of based on what they find, what it'll cost, so they'll be able to determine whether it's in the ballpark.
Yeah, Mark, and part of that RFQ process was them submitting example projects and the pricing of it. So we
You've
have
already seen it.
we have several examples of previous projects that they've done, as well as the other people that submitted qualifications. So we have probably 16 to 20 example projects and costs associated with those, so we can kind of compare and make sure they're not overcharging for that.
Okay, that's what I want to hear. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
You guys are keeping it easy on this side.
Yeah, well,
It's deep.
I know that. Motion Deaton, second shoot, that we authorize the city administrator to execute phase 1 of the turbine control system upgrade with HPI Energy for a contract amount of $95,000. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, abstained. New business item number 1 passes. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
thanks, Matt.
Okay, council updates. Why don't we start with Utilities Director Cons?
Just a quick update. Greta, we completed the west interceptor that will serve the Treadway Apartments. We commissioned the east lift station at Greta, so that's functional. And we should be receiving bids for the west lift station at Greta within the next couple of weeks. So hopefully the sewer part will be almost done soon.
Yeah, actually, I had one quick question for you, Gons, and it has to do with substation planning for the east side of I-35. I know that it's a little bit down the road, but have we started preliminary analysis of what we would need in order to be able to service some of those properties out there?
There is a staff report coming next meeting regarding the site location, preliminary design of Sub 4.
Okay, great, thank
So
you.
that's coming to you in 2 weeks.
So you already had us ready for that, so, good, thanks.
Jason, Parks and Rec.
Couple quick things. We are going through seasonal application process right now. Start doing interviews. I think the kids are on break here in a week and a half or so. We're also in preparation for, believe it or not, Independence Day is less than 5 months away. We have secured 3 artists for the event. So we're now getting into planning the stage, security, parking, fireworks, all that good stuff. So we hope to announce our main act here in the next couple months. We'll put together kind of a teaser video and then add on to that as we get closer to the event.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Community Development, Mr. Nopik.
Just very quickly, the Economic Development Advisory Committee is meeting Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. here at City Hall. The primary topic of discussion will be with the manager of the farmers market. There's been some interest by the committee to talk about the downtown, destination downtown elements and get a little more information about how the farmers market currently operates and how it might meld into destination downtown in the future. So.
Mr. Headley.
Nothing further tonight.
All right. City Clerk.
Yes, we actually do still need one more member to serve on the committee for the EDAC interview board. When Steve was serving, he was serving as the mayor. So Todd, you have essentially taken his place, and we replaced Randy with Eric. So we still need one more.
So how many committees are we supposed to be on, or how many are everybody on? Because I'm on one.
I'm on one.
So we're all on one?
Most,
believe.
I think there's like there's like 6 or 7 committees. So there's 5 of us, so yeah, that's pretty much standard. But, you know, I think the only one I'm on right now is EDAC.
I know
At
on
this
the
point.
airport.
Are you on EDAC, or you were taken off?
I'm on planning commission, yes.
So you're not on EDAC, but you need one
Oh,
of
wait,
us to be on EDAC.
I'm not on planning, there's no ex officio on planning commission.
You're on the
No, no.
Interview.
Interview team.
The interview team.
I'm talking about the interview teams, I'm talking.
So, yes, so on the interview teams, are we all just on one, or who?
I'm only
Oh,
on
okay.
one.
Yeah.
If you need somebody, I'm happy to be on it.
I'm on airport, electric, and community, right? It would be our ADA compliance one that we never have staffed, right?
No,
Pretty
it's,
sure I'm on all those
that's
interview teams.
public works and accessibility. I think it might be a good idea, just a suggestion here. Maybe we should publish the interview teams as they currently stand and give folks who have not had an opportunity to bid on other interview teams the opportunity to,
Because
do
is
that?
it 2 members and the mayor?
yes,
So then we should be on more than one.
at least 2,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm on
Exactly.
one, you're on 0, right?
He's on one.
He's
Yeah.
on EDAC, on the interview committee? Okay.
I'm on the CPAC.
Well, Parks and Rec used to have you on it as part of the interview team, but I don't, who else was on Parks and Rec with you? Yeah, so-
It's
see,
been
we
a
need-
while.
we probably need to-
I feel like I did an approval for that once.
Yeah.
A while.
Maybe that was a while back.
Maybe, could we get an updated list and then we'll kind of go from there?
Okay. Friday
And
night.
if we get the list and maybe if someone wants to, move around or do something different.
Oh,
we can
absolutely.
Meet out back, jockey for it.
Yeah,
Dress,
Arm
dress.
wrestling?
Arm wrestling,
arm wrestling.
rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, Mr. Belcher, Chief,
Nothing tonight.
nothing. Matt, Finance. Nothing. Amy,
Nothing tonight.
no. City Attorney, Ryan Dink, ESQ.
Yeah. Thank you, I appreciate
You're welcome.
that. Nothing tonight.
Jim.
Okay. We are getting closer to having some salary information for everybody. We keep getting new information, one curveball after the other. Some of the jurisdictions are swinging for the fences, so we're trying to base our recommendation in good information. I had a county managers meeting on Friday, got some new stuff that is just way out there, so we'll stay within ourselves with the recommendation. It should be coming soon, either next meeting or the meeting after.
So when we're talking about way out there, Jim, what are we talking like?
We're talking about retention bonuses, signing bonuses, cost of living adjustments, cost of living bonuses, tenure bonuses, match for 401k, and just in some of them, all of the above.
So Amy and Matt, I assume scatter plot, standard deviations, all that jazz.
But one thing though, the adjustments we can make or need to make, but also the bonuses and those kind of things are more of a one-time expense.
Yeah.
That,
Whereas base
Usually
compensation
won't be
is,
absorbed.
yeah.
So hopefully we're thinking out of the box a bit too.
And some of the numbers that they have for not just police, for all employees, they're way down. So, because salaries are just getting ridiculous.
Yep.
Thank you. Anything else?
That's it.
Councilwoman Deep.
Jason, I had a question, and you made me think of it. How are the applications coming in? Are we getting more than normal, about the same? Are we getting less than normal? Are we looking at another shortage in the seasonal department?
So I was looking today, the excuse me, the main one we had issues with last year was lifeguards. Knock on wood, right now, where we're sitting right now is where we were sitting last year, right around 50. So very manageable. I'm not sure what the ratio is on returners to new, but that's a good start for us. So the other area that we're kind of low in are facility supervisors. Those are 18 and over positions, and we know what the market is right now with those kinds of wages. So we're going to look at, those positions oversee all of our tournaments and evening events, things like that. So that's one of the main ones that we're looking at right now. But lifeguards, that's the big one on the plate, and right now we're set good.
That's good. And then I want to thank everybody who was part of putting together that 56 highway plan meeting. I attended it early. I wish I would have seen a lot more citizens. Hopefully they showed up later in the evening, but it was really good, really informative, and I'm really excited to see that project get started. And then I already spoke to Chief Belcher about this, but I want to again publicly thank your 2 officers. My son broke down on the side of the road at 1 o'clock in the morning, which is, a parent's worst nightmare. And 2 officers stopped by, 12-degree weather, check on him, make sure he's okay while we worked out the tow truck issue. And, as a citizen, that's really nice to know that our people aren't out on the side of the road by themselves. So thank you.
Councilman Potter.
Got nothing.
Nothing. Councilwoman Roberts.
Okay, I have a couple things. I too attended the open house, and I got here about 5:30, and I might have been the only one in here besides staff. So I don't know. I don't know if the citizens came or not, but I do know that we had social media posts that showed the handout. So hopefully, if they didn't come to the meeting, they got that. So thank you for getting all that information out. My next thing is the new stoplight at Madison and Moonlight. Are we gonna get the fancy lighted sign? Like right now, it's just dark. Like this Madison isn't lit up like on the other street signs it'll say Moonlight or we'll say Gardner-Road or whatever. It's dark. So I didn't know if it was still getting transitioned or if we just hadn't hooked up. It looks like there's wires, but I'm not technical. I don't know.
I'll have to take a look for sure
Okay.
what the specification was.
Because it's kind of dark there.
Okay.
And it looks like I said, it looks like it's set up for the fancy lights and et cetera, but it's just dark. So I've had a couple people ask me. And that's it. And thanks for all the snow removal Wednesday. I was out there driving around, going to the dentist and going to work when it was really snowing, and it seemed like we did a good job. So, thank you.
Always, yeah. Council Vice President.
I don't have anything tonight.
Awesome.
Thanks, Todd.
Second that.
I know, it's
Just
like,
kidding.
like the first time I've ever had nothing. So
Council President.
All for Jason, I think. So, great on staffing. Sounds like we're in the right, place where we need to be for pool right now. Do we know of anything right now that's going to give us a surprise with the pool this year?
Don't jinx it.
oh
Yeah,
goodness.
you had to say something. didn't you?
Oh goodness.
I hope not. It's kind of like Matt was talking, Ponzer was talking earlier. You won't know till you get in there. So we won't start that process till late March, early April. So knocking on wood again. So hopefully not.
Okay. Any update on the information you were gathering for the Inclusive Park?
Yes, so we had our state conference 2 weeks ago. Met with one of the groups, and they are sending me this week some sample projects that they've done the last 2 years. They're one of the leaders in the industry for the inclusive play. I hope to put together some sort of presentation for you to look at. It'll show size, amenities, cost, locations, things like that. I mean, you can go from one end of the spectrum to the other.
Right.
So, but we're just looking at kind of what would work for our demographic.
Okay, thank you. And the only thing else is, as far as the snow removal, people like to complain about the snow removal, but Pittsburgh is an almost equally sized city, and I was there over the weekend, and their roads are still not clear, a bunch of them. So for as much complaining as some people do, we actually do a really good job, and staff needs to know that. So that's all I have.
Absolutely, absolutely. And actually, I did have one thing.
Yes. Go ahead.
I know.
Point of
people-
order. He's.
I know people are like, okay, we're gonna have a committee meeting and blah, blah, blah. EDAC is kind of important in that we are kind of at the linchpin of some of the work that's being done, especially around downtown. If you have any interest whatsoever in looking at what's going on downtown and there, and especially around the farmers market, I know there's a lot of people in the community that care a lot about the farmers market and want to see it continue. Please come on Wednesday, because that's kind of important. It's fun and excitement, but it's really important, and I hope that we get more people out for these other than just the committee members. So,
Excellent. And I don't have any updates, so we will go to executive session. So I did want to switch these two around. So we will do executive session.
It's good in case he's disgruntled.
Yeah. Yeah.
all right.
You're gonna leave out. Number 2 first. So, 30 minutes? Okay. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session to consider, to discuss matters of attorney-client privilege relating to a development agreement?
So move.
Second.
Motion,
That's Baldwin.
Baldwin.
Yeah.
Second, Deaton. This happens. Then we move into executive session pursuant to KSA 754319B2 to discuss matters of attorney-client privilege related to a development agreement, beginning at, what time is it? 7:28, returning to regular session at 7:58. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, abstain. Steve. My clock says 7:58.
Your clock's always slow, Steve.
Apple says it's
Do I
7:58.
Bang it.
7:58. Okay, is there a motion to resume regular session?
So moved.
Motion Potter, second Deaton. Resume regular session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Back in regular session. There we go. Okay, so moving on to executive session, item number 1. Consider entering into executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel relating to the city administrator's annual performance review. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion Deaton, second Baldwin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Should we know what time and how long?
Yeah, probably need to.
Oh, yeah, you need to do all that, don't you?
Yeah. How long? Do you think we need
15 minutes?
10, 15.
15?
10.
Um,
Not you. Yeah, 10.
Deputy
Let's say
Administrator?
15?
Yeah, let's say 15.
15 minutes? Okay, 15 minutes.
All right. Motion to recess into executive session pursuant to KSA 754319B2. Nope, sorry. B1 to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel relating to the city administrator's annual performance review beginning at 7:59. Returning to regular session at 8:14 p.m. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain?
Sarasota, my